The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm Daren Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up, the University of the People is making college a reality for many Bronxites. We're going to learn more about the first tuition-free accredited university. Afterwards, we'll meet the organizer of protest movements for Puerto Rico here in New York City. We're going to learn where the island stands today. Then up next, we'll also catch up with the founder and CEO of Primus Business Management, learning how he's working with working to change the landscape for small and minority business owners. And then after that, the first LGBTQ bar is coming right here to the borough of the Bronx. We're going to learn more with the future business owner and World Pride 2019 ambassador. Then Blactina Media is a new media company aiming to amplify the voices of Afro-Latinx and Caribbean people. We'll catch up with the founder just a little bit later up on the show. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello everyone, I'm Daren Jaime. Today is Wednesday, August the 7th. Can you believe we're already in August? Well, we are, and you're now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network as Open is being broadcast simultaneously live on MNN's channel. Now, you can stay connected to us also via Twitter and at BronxNet TV and also on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. So stay connected via social media. Well, a lot has certainly been going on throughout the past week. We're going to take you through a few things with some Bronx updates. The New York City Police Department brought people and police together for National Night Out, an annual community building campaign promoting police-community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie.
We know that at times we find ourselves in opposite ends of a debate with the police, depending on what happens. For example, here, what we saw with Eric Gardner in the Pantaleo case. But overall, it overwhelms my heart with joy when you see all of the family members, the diversity, not only here, but in every precinct in the Bronx and throughout the city of New York, coming out and saying that, you know what? Generally speaking, we know that the overwhelming majority of the men and women in uniform are out here to serve and protect us. We want to work with them. We all want safer communities, and everyone is just having a good time showing that support and that commitment.
When people look out and they see the cops having a good time with the kids, it shows them, hey, we're just like you. We're human. We have families at home. We all want the same thing. And we want to work together with the community. We need the community to really solve crimes and deal with.
In other news, the World Science Festival held their science fair at Lehman College, sparking the interest of STEM in young minds through interactive exhibits. Our BronxNet reporter, Danielle Farrell-Bannister, has a story.
Here at Lehman College, the World Science Festival hosts their annual City of Science event. This event featured hands-on activities designed to spark children's interest in fields such as physics and astrology.
So the World Science Festival really wanted to be able to bring our brand of interactive science to the public, to teach complicated science in ways that will really excite the next generation of scientists.
Sharifa Ahmed, a volunteer at this year's festival, gave us a chance to check out her station as we took a planet for a spin.
So we just have kids coming in today to explain to them Einstein's theory the marbles orbiting around the sun.
For many guests, the World of Science Festival was an exciting experience. For Mariella, she was able to walk on water using a mixture of cornstarch and water.
It was fun. I've always kind of wanted to do that because I knew that oobleck, you could do that with oobleck, but I've never done it before.
For more information about future events, visit worldsciencefestival.com for details. Reporting for BronxNet, Danielle Farrell-Bannister.
Thank you, Danielle. I think a lot of us want to learn how to walk on water. Well, the 50th anniversary of the Mott Haven Historic District was celebrated at the New York Public Library in Mott Haven. Attendees spoke on the importance of the celebration, and our reporter Stephen Powell was there bringing us the story.
The Mott Haven Historic District celebrated its 50th anniversary at the New York Public Library's Mott Haven branch, located on the corner of Alexander Avenue and East 140th Street. Samuel Brooks, president of the Mott Haven Historic Districts Association, spoke about the importance of celebrating this historic milestone.
It is very important because the Bronx has 12 historic districts, and Mott Haven was the actual very first historic district in all of the Bronx. And I think it's important for us to recognize the architectural contributions that the South Bronx has made throughout the years, especially the last 50 years.
The Mott Haven Historic District was the first area in the Bronx to receive the designation from the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission on July 29, 1969. Lisa Krasavich, executive director of the Landmarks Preservation Commission, shared her excitement to be a part of the celebration.
I'm really thrilled to be here with all of you tonight and esteemed colleagues, and on behalf of the LPC to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Mott Haven Historic District.
The New York Public Library's Mott Haven branch, built in 1905, represents the oldest library built in the Bronx and is the first image documented in the book 111 Places in the Bronx That You Must Not Miss, whose author, Kevin Fitzpatrick, provided historical context for the landmark.
When Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, in 1901 gave the millions of dollars to New York Public Library, the Bronx raised their hand and said, we need 8 libraries, and this is the first one to open.
The event's historical significance was not lost on Congressman Jose E. Serrano, who, while not present for the event, paid homage to the milestone as his Chief of Staff, Matthew Alpert, presented Samuel Brooks a certificate of special congressional recognition in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Mott Haven Historic District. The celebration of the Mott Haven Historic District's 50th anniversary serves as a reminder that Bronx culture extends beyond preservation of physical structures and encompasses the food, music, people, and diverse communities that maintain the borough's identity. Reporting for BronxNet, Stephen Powell.
And thank you, Stephen. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are going to take a quick break, have more open, including some very special guests when we return right after this.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
And we are back here on Open. The elimination and cancellation of student debt has been a hot topic button in the recent presidential debates, but some have taken strides to provide access to higher education, like University of the People, America's first tuition-free accredited university. Now, University of the People has recently reported the Bronx being the highest concentration of students in the Northeast region of the United States. And joining us now is the president of University of the People, Shai Reshef, who joins us here, and he's the president of University of the People. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
So now, you know, the people are going to say to me, is this really true? You got somebody who's got a university, tuition-free, and people attended school.
Well, it is. We are online, fully accredited, and tuition-free. We are not free. We ask the students to pay $100 per each and, of course, assessment. but which turn to be $4,000 for a full BA degree, or $2,000 for associate degree, over as many years as it takes them to study. So we are ultra low cost university, and it is because we believe that higher education should be a basic right for everyone. And so many people cannot afford it, and it's a shame. So we decided to build a university that will be affordable to anyone.
Very affordable, right? So it's an online university, and so people have the opportunity to take classes online. Talk to me about registration, because you do have a great amount of people right here from our borough.
Right. First of all, we're growing very fast in the Bronx. In the last 3 years, we have 400% growth. And anyone with high school diploma and sufficient English can come on board, take 2 courses, see if they like what we offer, show us that they have the right academic qualifications, and they can continue with us and get on with their degree.
So when you talk about receiving a degree, every college student says, listen, I want to be able to, pursue my degree, but we all know the amount of debt that actually comes. Talk about how you're able to make this tuition free.
Well, we are able to make it tuition free, first of all, because we use technology. Every time technology can replace people who use the technology. Moreover, we have volunteers. We have by now 20,000 students coming from 200 countries, but we have 11,000 volunteers, including the presidents of Columbia, Berkeley, NYU, Oxford. So the best universities president join us to make this university work by volunteers and be tuition free. Now, we believe that there are so many people, especially here, that deserve higher education but cannot afford it, either because it's too expensive, either because they are a single parent, they are very occupied, they work and they cannot afford it, or maybe they're undocumented and they cannot afford going to college. We believe that it's a basic right, and we open the doors to them.
I want to use a key word here, accredited.
Right.
So when you tell people about it, because there's plenty of schools that they're not accredited, but you've got an online school here, and it's free tuition and accredited.
It is accredited by the DEAC. It's a fully accredited American university, which means that our students can continue with their studies, get a job. It's not just studies. It's study with accreditation, and we have by now graduates, and we have graduates working with Google, Amazon, Apple, IBM, so the degree is valuable.
Right. And I want to talk about the borough of the Bronx, because you talked about, the Bronx, and I want to give some statistics here. When you talk about New York City in terms of those who complete a bachelor's degree, about 35% of New Yorkers get a bachelor's degree. National average, 31%. So 35 in New York State, 31 is the national average. But when it comes to the borough of the Bronx, only 19%.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing in terms of Bronxites taking part in this?
Well, so I think the reason is what I mentioned before. A lot of people deserve higher education and want to get higher education, but either they cannot afford it. Higher education is expensive. Even when people try to make it so-called tuition free, there is still loans to take, textbooks to buy, so it's very expensive and people cannot afford it. And more people say, I'm not going to take this debt on myself, I will never be able to return it. So they don't go to school. Other people, as I mentioned, a single parent, they're so occupied, they hardly can find the time to go to school. Well, when you study online, you can do it anytime, anywhere, study at night, study over the weekend, as much time as you have. It's not easy. It's hard studying online, and it's serious education, but at the same time, it's as flexible as it can get, and that's very relevant for this area. Now, talking about undocumented, we believe that undocumented have the right for higher education like every other person. Mm-hmm. It will be good for their future, but it will be good for their community and good for this country. Well, Trump wants to kick them out, but we believe that they still deserve the right for higher education while they're here, and if they go, they should take the education with them. And if you study online, it's actually, you have a university in a box. You take it with you everywhere you go. So,
and so for somebody who's watching right now saying, listen, what about income requirements, things of that nature? How does that work?
Anyone can come in. We don't ask people about their income. We don't ask them about, besides verifying that they have high school diploma or GED, they can study with us.
Wow. And what's been the reaction of people? Because I'm sitting here saying, okay, well, this is great. People are like, it's almost too good to be true. So I know you get this wherever you go.
We do, and as I mentioned, we have, the presidents of NYU and Columbia, and they get emails from potential students who send them email and said, I saw your name. Is it really you? And is it really a real university? Yeah. Because, some people believe that it's too good to be true. But, we build a model and to show other universities that they can do the same. Because higher education can be dramatically cheaper, and we're paving the way to other universities to do the same thing.
Right. And you have a lot of people who walk away from college with an astronomical amount of debt, And depending on if it takes you 4 years, 5 years, 6 years to finish baccalaureate studies, or if you go into the master's program, that's going to cost you some money as well. So you're saying, listen, come in, take part, and get this burden off your shoulder.
Exactly. And as I mentioned, BA is $4,000. If you study MBA with us, it's $2,400. A Master in Education, $2,600. So it's very affordable, and it's helping people building their future because, if someone wants to have a better future, the best way to do it is through education. Yeah. And we think that they should do it. So we open our gates, we look at the Bronx, and we said, hey, we are there for you. Come on, join us.
Well, Shai, good to have you, President of the University of the People.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for inviting me.
Filling a much-needed gap here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All righty. Now, listen, taking a quick break. We've got more coming up right after this. And thank you for staying with us. Puerto Rican protests in the island and the diaspora led up to the resignation of former Puerto Rican Governor Ricardo Rossello. Today, many Puerto Ricans vow to take the streets again if they're not satisfied with the court's decision for governor. Many now stand in New York in solidarity today. Joining us to tell us a little bit more about the protests that she's also helped to organize against the current state of Puerto Rico, the diaspora, and more is creative director of Ochos Nebulosos.
Ojos.
Ojos, that
like
what I say?
eyes?
Oh,
like
I'm sorry,
ojos.
I said ojos. Okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
It's okay, I can help you.
Chiqui's here with us. She's going to let us know a little bit more about it, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
So listen, I want to talk a little bit about you, first of all.
Yeah.
Born and raised Puerto Rico?
Yeah, born and raised in Santurce, Puerto Rico, and between Santurce and Carolina, and I'm also Dominican. My family's from UA, and my dad's from Villa Palmera.
So you've been out organizing,
yeah,
not just organizing, but really taking real strong stand in what you've seen in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
First of all, let me just ask you the question, your thoughts on, first of all, the resignation of Governor Rossello.
About time. He's been corrupt since he started, and he, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. His dad is also a very corrupt ex-governor we used to have called Pedro Rosselló. So it doesn't surprise me what has come down to. We just had confirmation when those chat leaks of what we already thought about them, you know.
So it really just became confirmation.
Yeah.
But really for you, it was more than confirmation. It was like, it is time to do something. And so you actually organized as well.
Yeah, luckily we've had like people like Nuestra Patria and New York Boricua Resistance and Comité Boricua, and I can keep mentioning them, that have organized many of the protests in solidarity with Puerto Rico over here in New York. I've personally actually organized what we call Perreo in Solidaridad, which is in solidarity. And it's Perreo Combativo, which is a way of dancing against the oppression we've had through the government and any homophobia, transphobia, and anti-blackness that we've had, and just perreando against it.
I want to talk a little bit about, we just showed a few photos, but I want to go back to them for a few seconds because you're also a photojournalist as well.
Yeah.
And you were able to really connect some things through the lens and, and to be able to see some things. And you wanted, and I know the job of the photojournalist is really, I want to drive home a picture in words. And so if we can, let's try to go back to a couple of those pictures because I want to be able to let you put some words on it. Yeah. Okay, there it is right there.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was in Union Square in one of the protests against Ricardo Rosselló. This lady, she has a wooden machete in her hand, which symbolizes a lot of the independent movement in Puerto Rico. So in the protests, you'll see a lot of those. Of course, I love capturing the younger generation that's coming with their family members in solidarity and teaching them the ways of how to ask for clarity and to be against the government that's oppressing us. So, yeah.
And so, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And that's a butterfly that actually stood on the flag, which I thought was very symbolic of a new beginning that's coming for Puerto Rico. We still have a lot to go through, but we're gonna get to be able to finally not have such a corrupt government, hopefully. And yeah.
Were you surprised by the amount of New Yorkers that really stood in solidarity?
No, because I think it just got highlighted more because of all the scandal of the chat being leaked. But diaspora Ricans, how I would call them, and have always been in solidarity with what is happening in Puerto Rico. It's just that now, after the hurricane, it affected us even more because, we lost family members, people lost their houses, so a lot of them migrated to New York. And then you had people that, after this disrespect came to the light, they were like, nah, okay, I actually have to go out into the streets and protest about this. So I'm not surprised about it. I've been surrounded by, all my life around it, so yeah.
And talk about your work. What do you want your work to really be able to capture? Because you're pretty diverse. You're an activist, and not just an activist, but a journalist. So talk about your work.
Bueno. So about my work, I'm only 24 years old, so I don't like to think that I have a set way of taking my images or documenting in general. It's always developing with me through my experiences. When I used to live in Puerto Rico, of course, I'm surrounded by more colors, right? So I would make sure to capture everything that, how do I say that? That showed the Afro-Boricua community especially, because we're not very shown in the public like that in the media. It's very whitewashed. So I always make sure to incorporate Afro-Boricuas and Afro-Latins that live in the island in general. And then coming to New York, I made sure to keep that part of me in my photography and my documenting, because I don't know if you guys know this, but New York is pretty gray tones and brown colors. And I'm like, how can I still challenge myself but show the true light of things? So I make sure if I'm gonna protest, and I see colors, that's what I go for, to just keep those roots of being from the Caribbean. And I don't know what else to tell you other than I just go with what feels right. I don't really have okay, I'm gonna make sure there's this type of person at this protest or at this place and photograph that. No, I'm pretty much go with the flow kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, before we go, I want to talk about the present candidates that are running for governor. Give me your thoughts. What are you What are you hearing? What do you see? What do you like?
I want their resignation.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pierluisi is very corrupt individual. He actually has worked with the Fiscal Control Board, and he's what I would call like running a dictatorship, calling himself the governor before it even goes through Supreme Court. Just, you know, like if it's his thing. And then you have Wanda, that we also need your resignation, my love, because she's also somebody that helped cover all of the, like, what FEMA? That's how you guys call it? FEMA has been doing in the island, and how poorly they treated us during and after the hurricane. So I think the vote should be handed to the public and not to a government that's been showing just corruption and not helping us at all.
Well, we want to tell you thank you for coming and sharing with us. And of course, people have an opportunity to find out more about you. Once you know, if you want more information about Cheeky, all you got to do is visit her website and or hit her up on Instagram, and you'll be able to connect with her there. Cheeky, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. And thank you for keeping us updated.
No problem.
All righty, listen, don't go away. We have got more show coming up right after this. And thank you for staying with us. You are back here on Open. I want to let you know our next guest is an award-winning entrepreneur, author, and a business coach. He's also a recognized advocate for better business practices. And joining us now is Primus Business Management founder and CEO, Janae Wright. And we thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
Good to have you.
Appreciate it.
Hey, great. And so I tell people all the time when we talk about small business, it's definitely the lifeblood of America, right?
Absolutely.
And so you've done a good job of capturing that heartbeat, not just capturing that heartbeat, but really helping small business owners to be able to turn the corner and navigate through even what we call right now a really tough time.
Yeah, absolutely. My company, we believe in community businesses, right? We believe that as a community grows, the business around it helps the community really becomes more impactful, right? There's a lot of statistics talking about, with a good business sector, the community becomes more civilly engaged, more economically engaged, and they're just more in tune with what's happening. So for us to go into communities and really help and work with small business owners to help them not just grow their business, but actually keep their business open, because that's one of our biggest issues, right? In any kind of situation you'll see, businesses close like 80% within the first 5 years. Right. That does not lead to change. That does not lead to a community district. That just leads to opening more doors closing, and no real consistency in how the businesses and how the communities are growing.
Why do we get that? I mean, we talk about 80%. 80% is a major number, and then businesses who have these great ideas, some of us their life dream, and they're shut down in just a few seconds. What are the mistakes that are happening there?
So it's all about resources, right? People realize that the major resources is funding, it's experience, it's knowledge, how to run a business. But there's one resource people don't really think about too often. It's time, right? Business owners spend so much time doing things that they're not good at, they're not consistent with, that it causes the business to fail. So that's where we created Primus. That's how we came into this industry of, let's work with you, let's help you take care of your accounting, take care of your HR management, take care of your advertising and marketing, so that way you can really concentrate on why you started start the business in the first place, right? A lawyer doesn't know anything about accounting, but they spend 60% of their time trying to understand accounting so they can do it themselves instead of paying someone to do it. So we come in as a way of really giving back that resource of time and experience and knowledge to help them really grow their business. So when you incorporate or when you work with a company like us, we are all master degree accountants, master degree HR managers. So you go from a solopreneur to now you have a team around you that's been doing this for 10, 15 years. So your business will show that impact of us being part of it.
And I know you do even further in terms of developing business. You got the Black Business Success Model book, and talk to us about the book.
So the book came from this really bad joke that I heard, right? It was someone, a teenager, saying, the way that a Caribbean store is that you got cursed out by the owner, right? And you start to realize that there's these myths about businesses, about minority businesses that, they're unprofessional, that they don't have the right business sense. So I created this book in the vein of, listen, I'm gonna give you these resources of how to run your business, how to make society see you in a different light, and really how to incorporate the community into your business. So the book is all about that. It's all about leadership. It's all about delegating, how to delegate property, all about how to really impact your community to grow your business itself.
And so people can get the book where? All over?
All over. It's on Google. It's on Lulu Publishing. You Google my name, you'll find the book everywhere.
Yeah. When you talk about the challenges that these business owners have today, what do you find to be the first and the primary challenge? Is it getting access to capital, or is it having the technical wherewithal to be able to go forward?
I think it's all, right? Capital is always going to be king. People need cash to run their business. But even before you get to that point, you have an idea, you want to grow it, it's what do you do with it? Some people jump right in and say, hey, I'm going to open a storefront, and you start wasting money. Instead of trying to really take your time, really develop the business, create that business plan, work through all of the kinks in it as you grow it slowly, and eventually, not everyone can just jump off and do a business by themselves. People need to have a 9-to-5. People need to do all the things. And I think a lot of times we come to this conclusion that if you don't jump in to be an entrepreneur, then you're failing. No. Like you start your business, you do what you have to do, you follow your game plan, and you get to where you want to get to. The funding will come, the staff, the notoriety you're looking for will come, but you have to have a game plan. You have to really know where you're going and really follow that plan all the way to the end.
And I want to bring up the word socially conscious entrepreneurship.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It means there's a direct impact of your business and what you do, what happens to your community. Right? There's a direct impact of how a business owner can really influence the community. When I talk with this, I always talk to people about the old school barbershops, right? I had a barbershop in my neighborhood who cut my hair from probably when I was 7 till now, right? So that barber knows me. He knew me for that long, and I remember going to the barbershop and he gave me money to sweep up the floor and doing all these things. These are impacts, right? These are connecting with business owners in your community, connecting with everyone in the community. As I look back at that barbershop today, he's employed some of my friends who've grown up in the neighborhood. He has been so much part of that neighborhood that he is a staple. Businesses need to realize that that's what it means to be a business in a community, right? You are leadership. You are part of that fabric of the community. So to be socially impacted is understanding that your part to play in this community is very big. It's people looking up to you. You are leading the charge against anything. If something happens in the community, everyone flocks to you because you're that staple, you're that corner store, you're that business owner. So being able to have a socially impact business means how do you really, it's not just about dollars and cents, right? What are you doing beyond just creating money or just beyond collecting money from your neighborhood? How are you giving back to the neighborhood? How are you really being part of the fabric of the neighborhood to really change where you are?
And that's also a little dynamic too, because you have a lot of businesses that feel like they want to give back, but there's also the pressure of giving back and you're just getting started. And sometimes you just can't be able to do both right off the bat, right?
Correct. But, right, if you think about it, there's a connection between it, right? The more you do, the more you're outside, the more you're talking to people in your neighborhood, the more they know you and know your business. So eventually, it falls back to you, right? You have a business, you're communicating, you're having events, you're doing all these things as a startup. But as people start seeing you, they'll start coming to your business. So it works both ways. So I understand the idea of you have to buckle down in your room and just keep working. But if you're not out there, like the statement is, if you're not talking about your business, nobody else is, right? So that's part of it. You have to do both parts to be successful.
So what you working on these days?
These days, I'm actually working on a nonprofit. We're going to do a business that's going to work with small businesses, work with the community in the same way, and give them a lot of the trainings and courses they need to actually be successful. And in our goal of being that community-involved organization, it's about helping them be more community-minded and be more out there in their community to really develop the area around them and just keep expanding it as they can really impact the entire community that they're in.
Well, Janae, good to have you here. Janae Wright, founder and CEO of Primus Business Management. Thank you so much for coming and being with us.
Appreciate it.
Hey, keep helping business.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Listen, now, if you want more information on Janae and Primus Management, all you got to do is visit their website, and that's primusco.com, primusco.com, and you can email them at info, and you got the information at the bottom of the screen, or you can call 212-328-0138. Once again, the number 212-328-0138. Janae, thanks again for coming and being with us.
That's it. I appreciate it.
All righty, listen, taking a quick break. We got more open. Stay with us. Come right back right after this.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Well, after several attempts to open in different locations, this business owner says, fifth time's the charm. Port Morris will soon be the home to the first LGBTQ bar in the Bronx. And here to tell us more is the upcoming LGBTQ Bar and World Pride 2019 Ambassador, Audrey DeJesus. And good to have you.
Good to be here.
Good.
Humbled to be asked to be here in front of you. I mean, I follow you all the time. You're great.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you with us. And, you know, I know for you, it's been a work of, we've been talking a little bit with activists, right, about the work and the activism. And so you've done this in the community for a minute.
Yeah, for the past 15 years in the Bronx, but I've been actually working in different LGBT bars for the past 30 years. And it's time that I focus on my community.
And so here it is, you've got the borough of the Bronx, and you guys have got this great announcement that you wanted to make, and a lease is soon to be signed, I take it, or how's it going?
We had a little hurdle because when we were going to get ready to sign the lease back in March, I went there one day to do a walkthrough, and the ceiling was, it was raining.
Right.
And when we walked in, it was raining inside the establishment. So I was like, until this is resolved, how we put a rider into the lease, we're not going to sign the lease as of yet. So that was postponed on the date we were supposed to anticipate construction. We were supposed to actually be open this week, our soft grand opening, but because the expenses occur from the roof being damaged and everything, now with the pushback date hopefully will be the ending of October, because we just signed the lease because we ratified everything that had to be done with the property. It's located in Port Morris, and I am the first gay-owned and operated in that area, because I've tried 4 times in different areas of the Bronx. And the reason this is so special is all about timing. I'm overcome a lot of hurdles. I have the community board, I have the community, and the borough president in support of this venture that I'm doing now. I guess it's all about timing.
Right.
Because the first 3 other hurdles that I encountered was pushback with the community. You know, it being an LGBTQ bar, successfully, and then you had a lot of people that were closed-minded and it was stereotyping my business. So they were protesting and they were calling the police on random nights when it was packed with lesbians and Hispanics, but I overcame those challenges. I'm like, well, this is not going to deter me. I'm just going to keep on. I took a hiatus to actually do my research and walk around the whole community. Plus, in turn with that, I was an activist. I'm an activist, and I'm part of the Bronx LGBT task force with the borough president's office, whereas we pick out certain members of the community that have been an impact with our youth or the health department or housing, and we give them a proclamation. I was honored to have mine last year. They gave me a proclamation. So, and then this year they chose me to be an ambassador out of 5,000 contestants. They weeded down to 11, representing the whole state of New York. So I marched with the governor for World Pride, and it was amazing. And through that, I've been networking with the clubs and touching base with business owners, and we have a lot of hurdles to overcome.
But you have to have these conversations, right?
Yes.
And so what are these conversations really, when it gets down to the nuts and bolts of it, what are the conversations really about? Is it about
how comfortable
safety?
they feel, safety in the community, where to go, who to network with, because I want people to have a sense of security when they walk into my business. I'm not just focusing on the LGBTQ. It's open to everybody. I'm not going to discriminate whether you're in a wheelchair or whether you want to come with orange hair or you're African American or you're from Iran. My doors are open to everybody. It's just that because I am a proud lesbian, it's gay owned. That's the only difference in the community. That's my niche. And it's a long overdue establishment that we need in the community, because people go to Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island. Why do they have to go to Manhattan when they come to the Bronx? You know, we're going to have shows, we're going to have a restaurant, so it's up and coming.
And one of the things I do want to talk about, though, is when you talk about employment, right, and the business. You got hires, and your goal is to hire from within
the community. And the community is also going to pick the name. When we do the soft grand opening, we're going to have a suggestion box, and the people are going to pick names. And at the end of the night, we're going to pick the name to the club. And then we're going to just go from there. And also the DJ, we're going to have a resident DJ from the Bronx, and we're going to do a $5,000 challenge. I'm going to have the DJs battle each other and let them figure out who's going to be my DJ to the club.
This has been a long time coming. How's it feel for you?
I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm humble because I have a lot of support now that I didn't have before. Right. I guess being an activist and being out there, and the politicians know me, because when they knock on my door and they tell me, Audrey, I need you to help us do petitions. I need you to help us walk around, put our name out there. I'm the first one, like, where and when do you want me to be? And
but I guess that goes hand in hand with being an ambassador, right?
Yep.
And so did you think being an ambassador would take you to the places that you've...
It gave me more exposure,
yeah.
and it shows that I'm showing to the people that if I can't do it, who's going to do it? You know, I'm representing a whole big network of people, not just me myself. I mean, and I also mentor teenagers. You know bullying, anti-bullying, and everything, and that goes hand in hand with. I want a teenager to come to me like, well, how do you go about doing this business? I want to be their role model. I'm a mentorship, you know. And I'm like, well, come on, I'll do an internship with you. I'll talk to you. My doors are open to anybody. I have the time now. This is my time.
Your time, and you make it, and you're making it happen. So what do you have coming around the corner?
Well, going back to work in September, I'm teaching for the Board of Ed, and through that, I have a non-for-profit called New Beginnings, Bronx Prize New Beginning, and that's focusing on the LGBT homelessness and mental health. I'm focusing on that now because we're facing a lot of challenges about that.
Do you find that people are more tolerant nowadays
Yes.
in terms of at least having that conversation?
The conversation is more open now. They're not afraid anymore like they used to be. Now there's resources. You know, we put it out there. We try to do a directory. We try to, we're networking. You know, we're putting it out there no matter if it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I don't care what it is. Even if I'm walking, I'm an ambassador, I'm walking around. Hi, how are you? What is your concerns today? How are you feeling? You know, I'm lending you my ear. I'm lending you my hand. I'm an outstretched hand to you. I'm like, I am here. And what you tell me, it's here. It stays with me unless you want me to share it with somebody. And I go about finding it.
What's the biggest stereotype you have to debunk?
Being Hispanic or lesbian in this society, because we still face discrimination. I mean, you think times would have changed in the past since Stonewall happened 50 years ago. It's just getting worse. Unfortunately, it's because of the hierarchies, politicians that we have. They're allowing all of this hatred and spew to come into this generation again. and it's sad.
Well, tell people again where to find and where to you can check out the bar coming up.
Well, through media, Facebook. I mean, right now we haven't advertised it yet because I don't have a website yet. So it's up and coming. I'm around. If people know me, I'm all over the Bronx.
That's it. But want to let you know it's coming. The first LGBTQ bar right here in the borough of the Bronx. Audrey De Jesus is also the World Pride 2019 ambassador, and she'll be in charge of the bar. Thank you for coming and sharing with us, and welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Likewise.
Thanks for following the show, too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, stay right here. Don't go anywhere. Listen, we don't want you to go anywhere either. Audrey's going to stay here for just a couple of seconds more. We need you to stay with us for a few minutes more. We've got more open coming up right after this.
She goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And we're back here on Open. Blactina Media is a new media company with a mission to amplify Afro, Latinx, and Caribbean stories with an emphasis on women through media and entertainment. They've got an upcoming event entitled Anti-Blackness and Colorism in Latinx Spaces. And here showing a little bit, or I should say sharing a little bit more about the upcoming projects and the event is the founder of Blactina Media, Nidia Simone. How you doing?
I'm good. It's actually pronounced Nidia.
Nidia. I'm sorry, Nidia.
No worries,
good to have you.
No worries. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good. So tell us a little bit about the company.
Well, the company is very new. We've been in existence online for about 2 years, but I LLC'd a few months ago in the spring, and we amplify Afro, Latinx, and Caribbean stories through film, foster community via events, this being one of them. And the focus is really to have authentic Afro, Latinx, and Caribbean representation on screen. I realized that my family dynamic was not reflected on screen in terms of like my Panamanian side. My father's family's Panamanian, and we would have amazing parties. We have this robust culture, but I couldn't find that in film or in television anywhere. Like this idea of what it means to be Black is so narrow, so I really wanted to change that. And as a filmmaker and a writer, I had the power in my hands to do it, so that's what I'm doing.
So talk to us a little bit about the work you're doing right now.
The work in terms of films, we have a couple projects in post-production. So one of them is La Bodega, where we talk about an Afro-Latinx family who's forced to sell their bodega to Jewish real estate developers. So that's currently in post, and I'm kind of a one-man band right now. So it's taken a little time. I shot it last year. And we also have the event series, which we launched Conexión. Conexión is a series where we talk about the pressing issues in our community, from dating, anti-Blackness and colorism in Latinx spaces, not being Latino enough, you know, and it's from a Black perspective. And all the hosts and panelists are either Afro-Latinx or Caribbean. So these events are to foster community. We watch the screening, and then we have like a roundtable discussion about the topic, and there's open bar, so.
A lot of conversation had there. Yeah. So when you talk about anti-Blackness and colorism in Latinx spaces, walk us through a little bit more of that.
Well, Latinidad is extremely narrow, like in terms of what it means to be Latino. Like you don't see people that look like me, even though like in Latin America, there's over 150 million Black people. You know, that's actually the norm. You can go to every single country in Latin America and find Black people, but we don't see ourselves on screen, and sometimes we're even erased. In Mexico, I believe in 2015, it was the first time they actually had Black people on the census in the government. So for years, people just said, oh, there's no Black people in Mexico. They just don't exist, and that's not true. So the problem comes when a Black person tries to get, you know, their government ID, and they're like, oh, we're gonna deport you because there's no Black people in Mexico. So even though I'm a filmmaker and my focus is entertainment, like it's so much more than entertainment.
What do you want people to take away as a filmmaker? Every filmmaker says, listen, I want to have people take away this. You?
I want people to see Black joy. I want people to see themselves being reflected without trauma porn, without being like a criminal, a prostitute, you know, like a juvenile delinquent. So yeah.
So I want to tell you that if you want to find out more information, of course, you got the information at the bottom of the screen. I want to let you know that telling the story is the most important thing that you possibly can do, and you're doing a lot in terms of sharing that story. So you got an event coming up.
Yes, yes. So August 15th at WeWork Harlem, tickets are $25, so be there. It's gonna be a pretty young group, but we open it up to everybody who is over 21 because there will be drinking. So yeah, we just wanna get the community like together because right now everybody's online. So that's how I built my business, was through Instagram and social media, but I wanna get us talking in person.
And so when you talk about the Instagram social media community, how has that played out with you? I mean, obviously a lot of conversations were had and you felt like you needed to do a little bit more.
Yeah, it was crazy because initially I just wanted to have a web series and it was gonna be titled Blactina. But as I built the Instagram, like it was so much more than a web series, and I started to make it a lifestyle channel. And then like Natasha Alford from the New York Times, like she did a story on us, and then we were in Oprah's online magazine. So I was like, okay, like this is way bigger than just a web series. So Instagram has really helped my business. And like now I'm working to take it off of social and focus on telling my stories and getting distribution for those stories in places that Black people can see and enjoy them.
And distribution is always a hard thing. How's it been for you?
It has been great. Like, I was pleasantly surprised when I met like Leo from BronxNet. She's not here. And she like gave me the opportunity to be distributed on BronxNet. So Conexión is actually, like, fingers crossed it will be on BronxNet. But I think it's gonna be pretty easy because I wasn't expecting that. I was gonna do the social thing, and now there's way more opportunities. And I feel like sometimes we think something is difficult, but like when we try, like it's like, okay, this was easy. But it's like getting past that idea that it's gonna be so hard for me.
So if people want more information about your event, they can come on out and be a part. Tell them again.
Yes, go to blactinamedia.com, and that's BLACTINAMEDIA, and or follow the Instagram Blactina. There's no K in Blactina. It's BLACTINA. So follow us. Also, if you want a Blactina t-shirt, like, I don't know if I can do this, but can you see?
Oh, you spun. You spun.
Unapologetically Black, unapologetically Latina. So check it out and buy a t-shirt. Spread the love.
Spread the love. Want to let you know that you can get in touch with her, and you got the Instagram handle. You got all the social media. Thank you for coming and sharing with us, and glad to have you.
Thank you.
All righty, listen, stay with us. We got more Open coming up right after this. And welcome back. The Competitive Edge Committee celebrated their 25th anniversary with a conference highlighting minority, women, and disadvantaged business members of the community who have elevated their small business. Our BronxNet correspondent, Ashley Tiffany, brings us the story.
The Competitive Edge Committee celebrates their 25th anniversary of the Competitive Edge Conference sponsored by New York Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This year's theme, Small Businesses Are Winning in New York, which they highlight minority, women, and disadvantaged business enterprises.
The Competitive Edge is a committee made up of city and state agency professionals who assist in building and enhancing the small business sector.
It's an opportunity for the MWBEs, the small businesses, to engage with the several city and state agencies that are on the committee and access to contract opportunities.
This year makes the second term for Zenaida Rodriguez as chair of the conference. She says small business enterprises looking to grow need to do their research first before trying to obtain support from New York State.
Do your research so that you can build a strategy on how you can access opportunity with these city and state agencies.
According to Empire State Development NewYork.gov, Governor Cuomo signed legislation that established the use of State Small Business Credit Initiative, SSBCI, funds for 3 economic development programs. One of them being New York State Surety Bond Assistance Program, which provides credit support, training, and technical assistance to help small and minority and women-owned businesses secure surety bonds. Approximately $10 million has been allocated to this program.
These historically have not had the opportunity to get larger contracts and to grow and be lead firms. And this begins to open the door for MWBs to gain a larger portfolio of more robust work, gain their experience, and really succeed and grow. It's going to change the face of the industry.
We didn't have to change that much to get the numbers to jump almost immediately, except for the fact that years of lack of opportunity for the women and minority-owned businesses forced many of them to move to other states. And when I came to New York as governor, New York was 46, but we got in the top 10, and Governor Andrew Cuomo has moved it up even further.
The conference included panel discussions with corporate executives on how to successfully evaluate your small businesses and an awards luncheon. Keynote speaker Anthony S. Kendall, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Mitchell Titus LLP, says out of 64% of minority businesses in New York State, only 6% was awarded contractors.
If a business is not receiving revenue and it's not growing, it's going to be difficult for it to sustain itself. And I think a lot of minority business, unfortunately, as you heard today from the data, some of them have not received contracts from the city in years. That's difficult. I'm encouraged, though. I hope and believe that these minority business would stay on the path.
The 25th anniversary honors small business owners of all ages. 14-year-old Corey, also known as Mr. Corey, is the youngest honoree. Mr. Corey says he started his cookie company to buy his mom a car, and now...
Well, as of right now, we ship nationwide online. We do ship to stores and different bakeries and stuff, but we will have a lot of things in the future that are G14 classified.
Amazing. That's the word that I would use. It's, as I said, I'm humbled and appreciative and very proud to receive this. I've been a part of this organization nearly from the beginning, and so to still be a part of it at this point in my life, I'm having difficulty finding the right words to express it.
To learn more information about the Competitive Edge Committee or their conference, visit www.competitiveedgeconference.org. Reporting for BronxNet, Ashley Tiffany.
And thank you so much for the package, and I want to thank you, because guess what? We've come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, listen, before we do, we want to give a special shout out who's been hanging out with us today in studio. We've got some special guests who've been hanging out with us. We've got the Dream Project all the way from Rockland County with us, as well as BronxWorks in the studio with us as part of our live studio audience. So we want to give a special shout out and tell them thank you for hanging out with us here on the set of Open Today. Now, also, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Fios, that would be Channel 33, or watch us anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. That about wraps up for us here on the set of Open. I'm Daren Jaime. Make sure you keep this channel wide open, saying take care, God bless, and we'll see you real soon.
Thank you.